Hey everyone, Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com. Welcome to NoDQ Live here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Aaron Rift NoDQ. Big changes to Survivor Series. A very newsworthy day has concluded. It started off earlier today with the news breaking that due to a concussion and a reported broken nose, which later turned out to be revealed as a broken face, according to WWE, we have Becky Lynch pulled from Survivor Series. How's it going to everyone? We have the mods. Caitlin's here. We have Virtue, who wants to be respected, so make sure you guys respect Virtue. Do not disrespect the man. Tony H with a $2 super chat donation. Bryan wins and turns heel. How about that? Good old Tony H always jumping ahead. But thank you for that, Tony H. I do appreciate it. I will be talking about that, of course. Very big outcome to this show. Why is Jeff Meacham calling me right now? Jeff, you know I'm live right now. Are you trying to throw off my game? I have no idea what he's up to. But anyways, Ken terminated by Google with a $5 super chat donation. He says, are you annoyed of fans picking on Nia Jax for the Becky Lynch injury? Did the fans crap on Owen for Austin's injury or crap on Rollins for the Sting debacle? All right, Ken, so let's talk about the whole situation with Nia Jax. And by the way, Sam just left a $2 super chat donation. He says, Bryan, no, but yes, this is awesome. Thank you for that, Sam. Again, guys, if you're going to send a super chat, I very much appreciate it. However, let's try to stick with whatever the topic is. Right now, we're talking about the whole Becky Lynch injury and what's going on with that. Who is this? Okay, I'm getting some kind of weird call now. I have no idea what's going on here. Let's just keep moving. Becky Lynch was basically punched in the face by Nia Jax. And there's been a lot of criticism towards Nia Jax. People are saying that she needs to be fired. And I've seen a lot worse comments. I've seen people making fun of her for her weight, which is really out of line. It's one thing to criticize her, saying, you know, she needs to be more careful in the ring or whatever, but to actually make fun of her for being big or saying these personal things about her, it's just totally uncalled for, and people should not be doing that whatsoever. And I feel bad for Nia Jax because I just went on her Twitter feed and you look at all the comments there and people just basically bullying her and making all these negative personal comments about her, which is not necessary. Whether you like her or not, it's not right to make those kind of comments towards her. Now, there is seeming to be a pattern with her where there have been other incidences in recent weeks, and that has led to some people to feel that maybe she needs to go back to developmental, maybe she needs to be off television for a while. Virtue, the troll that he is, of course. Remember, guys, Virtue's trolling you. He says, Nia is over. Good for her. I hope they turn an angle out of this. And I'm seeing a lot of people saying that Nia Jax is terrible. Some people say it's an accident. Accidents happen. I've seen all sorts of different opinions. And people are entitled to their opinions. But at the same time, making fun of her weight and all that stuff is just uncalled for. Y2 Jericho with a $2 super chat donation. Bryan versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. And he did the little thinking emoji. Before I get to that real quick, thank you for that, Y2 Jericho. Regarding that earlier super chat about Sting, yeah, Seth Rollins did get a lot of heat. Go back. If you look at the comments from when that happened, there were a lot of people getting on Rollins' case. People saying that Rollins is unsafe. Not only for what happened with Sting, but also what happened to John Cena when John Cena got his nose busted up. And then later, what happened to Finn Balor at SummerSlam. Tony H with a $2 super chat donation. Maybe, just maybe, Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. That could very well be what ends up happening, and maybe this was maybe this was the silver lining in the clouds, because I feel like right now Becky Lynch has so much momentum that her versus Ronda Rousey, as much as I was looking forward to that at Survivor Series, that's the match they should be doing at WrestleMania, not Ronda versus Charlotte. So it looks like WWE's reversing the plans. Charlotte will now be facing Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series, which is fine. I wish there was more build-up for it, but WWE probably thought the same thing, like, there's not much build-up for this, and they need to do more to make it up to fans, because really, I feel like Ronda and Becky was the main event of Survivor Series. That should have gone on last, and I feel like that was the match that people were most looking forward to. Ambrose Long with a $2.50 Super Chat donation. Has a pay-per-view had this many changes the week before? Not one of the big four that I could recall. I do remember TLC last year having those changes because of people getting sick. Bray Wyatt got sick, and then that whole match with Sister Abigail was canceled. It was Balor versus Styles. And then, of course, Reigns getting sick, and they had to bring in Kurt Angle. Just completely random. No fanfare, no build-up. Just Kurt Angle's first match back is as a honorary member of the Shield in the main event of TLC. Mike B with a $5 Super Chat donation. He says, holy shit, a DB heel turn, wow. How will that work in the long term? Aaron, you're awesome. You were awesome too, Mike B, but you missed out on the memo about sticking to one topic at a time. Everyone just wants to jump ahead to the whole Daniel Bryan discussion, which I will talk about in detail here. Marcus the God with a $2 Super Chat donation. I like this comment. He did it for CM Punk. So yeah, again, I will talk about that more here in a few minutes. Let me finish my thoughts on the Becky Lynch situation. WWE had to do something more than just Charlotte versus Ronda, because yes, it's a huge match. I believe it was the plan for WrestleMania. However, WWE felt they needed to come up with something, and anything other than Charlotte in that spot would be a huge disappointment. And even still, I feel like fans still want more. And tonight, WWE agreed, and they shook things up in a big way for the Survivor Series pay-per-view event. So let's go ahead and get to the show now. At the beginning of the broadcast, they did announce that Becky was hurt. She suffered a broken face and a concussion at the hands of Nia Jax. They did show the video footage in slow motion of Nia punching Becky, and I could see WWE turning this into an angle since Nia is scheduled to be Rousey's next opponent. They can play up on it, and Nia can say she took Becky out of the game, and she's going to do the same thing to Ronda. So I'm sure WWE will try and work this as much as possible. I don't think Nia is just going to not be in the match. I think they're going to make a big deal out of this, and Nia's not going to win the title or anything, but I think she's going to be built up, and they're going to use this to get heat on her and try to turn it into a positive, as WWE tends to do. And Dead Troll just beat me right to it, so there you go. Good comment, Dead Troll. So AJ Styles came out for a promo to kick off the pay-per-view. And yeah, Ricky Lawson, I think this could be the silver lining in the clouds. I think that we could end up seeing Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey now at WrestleMania, as it probably should be. By the way, we have 450 live viewers, so great turnout tonight for NoDQ Live on a Tuesday night. I appreciate everyone watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, tell a friend, spread the word about NoDQ Live, and let's go ahead and get to the review of Smackdown Live. So we had AJ Styles come out, talk about how he has been the workhorse champion, he has beaten everybody but Brock Lesnar. And this led to Paul Heyman showing up. That's right, Paul Heyman, rare appearance on SmackDown Live. Heyman brought up Raw as the premiere show and then mentioned Daniel Bryan, and that led to AJ Styles saying that Heyman was just trying to get under his skin, and AJ mentioned that, yeah, he did lose last year at Survivor Series. However, Brock Lesnar did walk out with a limp, and since that time, AJ Styles has had 371 days as WWE Champion to get better at tapping people out, and one of those people being the person that Heyman mentioned, Daniel Bryan. So Daniel Bryan came out, and he was not too happy about his name being brought up when this had nothing to do with him. And he said if AJ mentions his name again, he's going to punch him right in the face. Which led to AJ saying his name again in defiance. And then, of course, Daniel Bryan punched AJ Styles. Huge brawl erupted. Shane McMahon came out, and a lot of people were out there trying to separate the two of them. And it was a good segment. Then we had the backstage promo to set up the main event. We had Shane McMahon just screaming, total chaos backstage. AJ Styles and Bryan wanting to rip each other apart. And Shane was like, you know what? You guys are going to go out there, you're going to have a match, and it's going to be for the WWE title. And the announcers did confirm it during the match after that, which was Jeff Hardy versus Andrade Cien Almas. Almas came out with Zelina Vega, who was back from her brief hiatus. I think it was just like 1 week she missed. Or maybe just since Evolution. She's back now. Anyways, just a pretty standard match. Good stuff, but nothing too noteworthy. Jeff Hardy picked up the victory with the Twist of Fate and the Swanton Bomb, and there was a storyline reasoning for this, though. Backstage, we had The Miz, who was one of the co-captains for Survivor Series. Now, here was a little thing that was bizarre. So, Paige took Daniel Bryan out of the Survivor Series traditional match. And to me, this was weird because doesn't Bryan have to win the title first before you do that? And I could have sworn last year they just swapped Mahal and AJ Styles. I don't remember what they did last year exactly when AJ beat Mahal for the title. I know they put AJ in the title match, and I'm not sure what they did with Mahal, actually. I'm not even remembering at this point, so whatever. But yeah, it was just weird to me that Bryan would just be taken out of the match without actually winning the title. So that was maybe some weak writing there. They should have not done that, but whatever. Oh, I guess Mahal did nothing, so thank you for that, Mike D. Just like right now, he's doing nothing. So Miz was like, well, since Bryan's out, he's the sole captain, and he decided he was going to add Jeff Hardy to the match at Survivor Series. And then Paige was like, that's fine, whatever. And then Miz was saying that he wanted to boot Rey Mysterio off of the team, I guess because he's still mad about Rey Mysterio beating him. Paige said, not so fast. She's still the GM. She can override The Miz. And she said, however, if The Miz can defeat Rey Mysterio, then Miz can kick him off the team. This led to a match between Rey Mysterio and The Miz, which Mysterio did win against Miz with some kind of roll-up. I forgot what he did exactly. Randy Orton tried to attack Rey Mysterio after the match. Miz ended up getting hit with the RKO instead, and Mysterio was able to get away. We had a promo from Shin, a.k.a. Shinsuke Nakamura, and the crowd was just doing the what chants with him, and I'm not sure what was going on here. It felt like Nakamura was maybe purposely talking in the broken English and just exaggerating it just to be a heel, I guess. Like, I could barely understand anything he was saying whatsoever, and I felt like he was doing all that on purpose. Walrus, that's my line. Don't use my line. Anyways, he said that his heart was broken, that Seth did not care about facing him at Survivor Series, and he said at Survivor Series, because of that, because of the broken heart, he is going to break Seth's face at Survivor Series. Maybe he should just have Nia Jax in his corner and he can break Seth's face. Oh, too soon? Sorry, Nia. I could not resist that. She's not watching this anyways. Or is she? So next up we had a very interesting segment where Paige introduced Charlotte Flair and the rest of the Smackdown women's locker room. And the whole design of this segment was that Becky Lynch would pick her replacement for Survivor Series. Becky Lynch had this huge black eye. She was looking pretty tough, you know, having the black eye and whatnot. She came out to the ring and she started looking at everybody. By the way, the announcers were totally playing up Becky as a babyface. They weren't even trying to, in storyline, refer to her as a heel or anything. You know, they were talking about she's getting this huge crowd reaction, and the announcers were saying that they're proud of Becky for representing SmackDown. So she was totally being played off as a babyface character. She got in the ring. She said she's angry as hell about missing the show. And she said even with a concussion and a broken face, she could still kick Ronda Rousey's ass. And she said she was sorry she could not finish what she started yet. So maybe that's a little WrestleMania tease. We'll have to see how long she's actually out of action. Hopefully not that long. There was no indication that she's going to be stripped of the title right now, but of course that could change depending on her recovery. She said Ronda Rousey is not the baddest bitch on the planet. She's the luckiest bitch on the planet. Nelson with a $2 super chat donation. He says, does the injury help build Becky's hype and push? Probably, because my gut feeling was Becky was not going to win at Survivor Series. Now, maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe she was going to somehow win with some kind of interference or whatnot. But my prediction was going to be that Ronda was going to beat her. So, yeah, I think if anything, this is a good thing. Going back to earlier, maybe this is the silver lining. And they can save this match now for WrestleMania, and they can go all out with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey and hype it up and make a really big deal out of it. So anyways, it was time for Becky to pick her partner. She was looking at everybody, doing the stare down. A bit of a pop for Asuka, but like I've said before, Asuka has just been so watered down. Like, Ronda Rousey and Asuka at this point would be kind of just eh. It should have been done a while ago, and Asuka, she's kind of been moved down the card a bit, so yeah, I don't think the timing was right for it as much as people want to see that match. I think they went with the right decision, and that's going with Charlotte. But the interesting part of this was we had the stare down between them, and then Becky said she was choosing Charlotte, and then she hugged Charlotte. So again, it looks like the Becky heel turn thing is over, although she was kind of getting that stone cold reaction. I'm seeing a lot of people comparing her to Steve Austin, so some people have mixed feelings about that, like this new Becky Lynch character would not do that. I've definitely seen the mixed reactions to that. So very interesting. Garrett Mills with a $1 super chat donation, no comment, but thank you for that. Let me know what you guys thought about the hugs. Dead Troll says stone cold hugs. Chris May says that was interesting. Steve Herman says the hug was a joke. So Kayfabe Candy Ass says he hated the hug. There you go. Kayfabe wasn't a big fan of it. Caitlyn, though, liked it. And Garrett Mills with a $2 super chat donation. He says, 4 horsewomen angle at Survivor Series. Very well could be a possibility. Would not shock me if, like, we saw maybe even Becky Lynch in Charlotte's corner, maybe Shayna Baszler. Maybe we could see the seeds planted for some sort of horsewomen match. Maybe not at WrestleMania, because I think they should still do the one-on-one match. But maybe they could set up something for the Royal Rumble, perhaps. MMA horsewomen versus WWE horsewomen. Again, it may still be too soon for that, but WWE could certainly plant the seeds for something like that at Survivor Series. So next up, we had New Day versus The Bar and The Big Show. Oh, by the way, real quick before I get to that, Charlotte did do a backstage promo and said that she fought against Becky, she fought with her, but at Survivor Series, she's going to fight for her, and she's going to beat Ronda Rousey. So it was short and to the point. I wish there was more build-up for this. You know, this is a last-minute change of plans, but, you know, this was a match that was originally, I believe, scheduled for WrestleMania that we're getting at Survivor Series instead. So should be interesting, and who knows, maybe Charlotte will win. Maybe a huge shocker, Charlotte beats her, and then she can somehow jump to Raw saying, hey, I beat Ronda Rousey, I want the title match. That could potentially happen. Never say never. But Dead Troll doubts it. So anyways, we had the Bar and the Big Show defeat the New Day. Pretty standard stuff here. Big Show pinned Kofi with the knockout punch. Then we had security surrounding the building to make sure that no Raw people would interfere in the main event. And then we had the Usos reveal their partners for the Survivor Series tag team match, which is going to be on the kickoff. We had the Usos pep talking with the Colognes, Anderson and Gallows, and Sanity. So those are the teams, in addition to the New Day, that will be against the Raw teams that nobody cares about because they all got beat up by Braun Strowman on the Survivor Series kickoff. So there you go. And then we had the main event. Daniel Bryan challenging AJ Styles once again for the WWE title. People were definitely sensing something was going to happen here. I thought that there was a good chance Bryan would win the title, and I saw people commenting about a possible heel turn. Caitlyn pointed out that Bryan was working like a heel, which he was. There was a lot of interesting moments where Bryan was definitely in that heel mode, like teasing that he was going in that direction, but not quite fully there yet. But anyways, AJ Styles went for his springboard 450 splash. Bryan got his knees up, got the yes lock on, but then AJ was able to get to the ropes, and then he was able to get the calf crusher on Bryan. Bryan countered that into the yes lock, but then AJ was able to get out of that, and then AJ went for the phenomenal forearm. Bryan moved, and the referee got knocked down, so you knew something was going on here. Bryan, all of a sudden, once the referee was down, went with a low blow. He took a page out of Shinsuke Nakamura's book with that low blow. Tony H with a $2 super chat donation saying, 2018, the year of the low blow heel turn. So obviously this was like a last minute thing, because we already saw Nakamura turn heel with a low blow, and we've already seen a lot of heel turns this year. So this was quite random, especially considering just in the past few weeks, like with Ambrose turning, Lashley turning, we've seen all these heel turns going on, and Becky before everything else went down. Almost at 500 live viewers, by the way, so thank you guys again for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Please subscribe and spread the word if you enjoy this video. So he hit the low blow, and then he hit the running knee to AJ Styles, and yes, Daniel Bryan is once again the WWE champion, defeating AJ Styles just 2 months short of AJ beating CM Punk's run as WWE champion. So there you go. CM Punk remains the longest reigning WWE champion of the modern era, if we're not counting the Universal title. By the way, we just hit over 500, so again, thank you guys so much for this. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoy the video, spread the word, and please subscribe. Now, if it wasn't clear already that Daniel Bryan was a heel, just in case you were still wondering, after the match, Daniel Bryan did his celebration, but then he laid out AJ Styles after the match was already over and then started doing this evil grin. So, yes, officially, Daniel Bryan has turned heel for the first time, I believe, since, early 2012, I want to say. Whenever the tag team with Kane started, that was when he basically turned babyface. So, yeah, 2012. King Gary with a $2 super chat donation. He says, when will Undisputed Era be called up? Mega push. That I don't know. I'm not sure it's going to happen right away. Maybe after WrestleMania. But I'm not sure if we're going to see a whole lot of call-ups until WrestleMania. Just because the roster is so crowded right now. So I don't know about that. If they're going to be called up anytime soon. But we'll see. I do think they will be called up sooner than later. Probably after WrestleMania, if I had to make a prediction. Right after WrestleMania. They'll be like the next group coming up after WrestleMania. So yeah, so that was SmackDown. Daniel Bryan now goes on to Survivor Series to face Brock Lesnar for the first time ever. The match that was originally supposed to happen at SummerSlam 2014. Interestingly enough, I mean, this is really funny. The original main event for SummerSlam 2014 at the Staples Center in Los Angeles was Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. But then Bryan got hurt, WWE had to change plans, and John Cena was put into Bryan's role as the guy to put over Lesnar and make him look like $1 million. So now this match is finally going to happen at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, interestingly enough. So there you go. Santos with a $2 super chat donation. Can you explain why Primo and Epico are still in WWE? Great question, but probably the family ties with Carlos Colon, Then again, Carlito's not there, and Carlito is arguably, at least in my opinion, the most talented one of the three. But whatever. I miss Carlito. Carlito was cool. He was pretty cool. So yeah, that was SmackDown. Really eventful show. I feel WWE did do the best they could under the circumstances to get people excited for Survivor Series. I'm still not quite as excited for it as I was before. However, I feel like Bryan and Lesnar should be really interesting now and seeing what happens with that. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give this SmackDown Live an A-. Not quite an A or an A+, but it was a pretty darn good show, all things considered, and a very memorable one. So definitely an A- from me. Josh with a $2 super chat donation. He says, Aaron is the best. Aaron #1. Clap, clap. Well, thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. And yes, SmackDown was overall way better than Raw. It was a very interesting show for sure. And I think overall WWE did do a really solid job. I'm seeing a lot of B+, a few A-. Seems like most of you did enjoy the show. The Fire Disco Panda with a $2 super chat donation. He says, was Bryan going to win at Crown Jewel then? No. And I don't believe Bryan was winning the title tonight until the Becky Lynch thing happened. I firmly believe that this Daniel Bryan heel turn and win was a direct result of Becky getting hurt. WWE felt they had to make it up to the fans, and this is what they went with. They knew, yeah, Charlotte and Ronda would be a good match that people would want to see. However, that wouldn't be quite enough. So they had to shake things up even more, and this is how they made it up to fans. Remember, they did this last year at TLC, as I mentioned earlier. They shook up the card and did all these changes to make up for the last-minute cancellation. Sean Gordon with a $2 super chat donation says, Bryan has been hanging around The Miz for too long, LOL. Yeah, very interesting. So now Bryan is a heel along with The Miz. Could we potentially see a Miz babyface turn at some point? Didn't really work that previous time when he started using the figure 4 and acting like Ric Flair, but the fans do love The Miz, so would not rule it out. Nelson with a $5 super chat donation. Which heel turn had the biggest impact, Dean Ambrose or Daniel Bryan? Well, I would say Ambrose was a bigger shocker. Which heel turn ends up being more successful remains to be seen. We'll have to wait and see how things play out. I think the jury is still out when it comes to the Dean Ambrose heel turn. We need to see how that feud plays out before I really make a full judgment on that. I think history will be the judge when that's all said and done between those heel turns. Which one's better? We'll have to see how those heel turns play out. Tony Braden with a $2 super chat donation. He says, because you're the GOAT and NoDQ is the GOAT. Well, thank you very much for that, Tony. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, not much else to say. I did enjoy SmackDown and Survivor Series. Moderate interest. I mean, tonight definitely helped after the news came out about Becky, but I'm still bummed about Becky not being part of the show. That was going to be a really hot match, and I was really curious to see how that was going to play out. Anyways, guys, I will go ahead on that note, wrap up this edition of NoDQ Live. Stay tuned to NoDQ for the very latest. Like I said, very busy news day, a lot of things going on. I will be back very soon with predictions for Survivor Series. And of course, we have the meetup, nodq.com/LA. If you're going to be in the area, RSVP. Come join us for a fun time prior to Survivor Series. And that's all I got for this time. I will see you all next time.